Here's a story of a gambling addiction. David Bradford from Sheffield got a habit. He got into a spiral of debt to fund his gambling. It ended up with him remortgaging his house and embezzling money from his employers where he worked as a financial controller. The first his family knew of it, and perhaps this is the most remarkable thing, was when they got a call from his solicitor after a court appearance to say that he was on his way to jail to serve a 2-year sentence for fraud. He's now back home trying to repay debts of more than £500,000 with his son Adam controlling all his money. And Adam has written an open letter to all party leaders as part of his campaign for tighter controls on the gambling industry. Well, father and son join us now from Sheffield. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
David Bradford, how did it start?
Very difficult to say where it started or how it started. It seemed to creep up on me, but it's been for many, many, many years that I practiced gambling. Maybe at a level which was less than compulsive, but over the last, say, 5 to 10 years, that compulsion has taken or did take over my life.
And it, forgive me for putting it as bluntly as this, but it turned you into a liar, didn't it?
Yes, a compulsive gambler is a liar. Pretty much any kind of deceit that's possible to get the end goal, which is to gamble, would be employed, and really without thought of others. That's the real downside.
And you ended up, as I said a moment ago, embezzling money from your employers. It ended with a 2-year jail term. And this extraordinary fact that you were in such a state of, I don't know whether one describes it as denial or what, but your family didn't know until you were on your way to prison.
No, that was the deceit coming through all the way. Always with the belief that the next decision, the next bet will be a winner, and therefore rescue me from the situation I was in.
But I suppose even when you won, it didn't make you say, well, that's fine, I can pay that off. You just wanted to do it again.
Absolutely right, yes. Looking now inward to what I must have been like at the time was in a bit like an hamster in the wheel.
Yeah.
Forever going faster and faster, but going nowhere.
Well, Adam, you and the rest of the family obviously have had to try to pick up the pieces here.
Absolutely.
After a nightmare time.
Yeah.
And your father obviously served a sentence for a crime that he did commit. What are you saying about the background to this and what you think needs to be done?
Well, obviously, like you just said, my dad did commit a crime, and that's completely his responsibility. But in my own opinion, this is an industry without much heart, to be honest. They are a regulated industry, and we do have a regulator in this country, but the regulation that's out there isn't enough. It's not prevented people like my dad from falling into that spiral and being sucked in. And there's 3 key things which I think led to that. Number one is the massive rise in advertising that we've seen, and this kind of proliferation of free bets, which are not exactly free. Secondly, my dad had massive debt, as we've just talked about, and he was still allowed to open dozens of different sites. Spent his limit on one, went to another one, finished that, and it went on and on and on. So they're not working together enough, and they're not protecting the most vulnerable people. And I know that they can do way, way, way much more.
One of the things that people often cite in this connection isn't just the online gambling opportunities which now exist, but slot machines in betting shops that offer potentially huge returns, but can suck up money extraordinarily quickly, in a few minutes.
Yes, hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I think these are the fixed odds betting terminals that you're talking about, which there is new regulation always taking shape around those. My dad didn't necessarily bet on those as much. Most of his was done online, which I think is a really scary problem. It's a devastating addiction. And as you said, hundreds of pounds in minutes you can blow thinking that you're going to make that big win and the next one's going to win. I think the advertising has a lot to do with that.
Let me just turn back to you, David Bradford. What were you betting on? Anything and everything?
No, more or less just online slot machines was the thing that I favoured,
So waiting for 3 lemons?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm the 4th lemon.
And if you had to see one big change that might help what would it be?
I would like the industry to take a proactive role in supporting people that are on the edge of becoming engulfed with this problem.
They might not like to admit it, though.
True enough, I think that's the thing. Compulsive gamblers don't know they're compulsive gamblers. It's only in a more lucid moments that they can see that, and if the help's there to grab hold of them at that time.
Well, finally, there may be some who are having a lucid moment listening to you who have the same problem. What should they do?
They've really got to reach out to all the support agencies and take notice of what they say, be honest with their family, because that's the backbone of their life.